Hello there everyone, and welcome to a new review on the channel. And today you are going to be talking about a product that has come out and has already an extensive pool of reviews and discussion and podcasts online, and that is Hide a Key by Rawlins. Now, I know you've probably heard enough of the project, whether you've seen recent reviews, whether you've watched Blackpool Convention recaps, you've probably seen Hide a Key extensively everywhere, but I still want to make a video on it because hopefully some of you have not yet purchased it and want to learn more about it. Maybe one or two things I can provide as additional information to maybe nudge you to buy it or maybe not, depending on your needs. So let's learn more about Hide a Key right after the intro. Perfect, so you decided to stick around, which means you want to learn more about Hide a Key. Now, what is Hide a Key? If you don't already know what Hide a Key is, it's essentially a system that allows you to vanish a key. In its simplest form, that is what it is. It's a system that lets you vanish a key. So for example, you would take out from your pocket your keychain. This is my keychain. Yes, this is my keychain. These are like the new type of keychains that I like. Very simple, especially since I can just tie this to the loop of my pants. Nonetheless, enough discussion about a keychain, but you would essentially introduce your keys and you would ask your spectator, do they know which key is the hardest to remove? No matter their answer, you tell them it's actually the middle one, because this one, if you want to remove it, you just have to slide one key. Same for this one, you just slide one key. Whereas the one in the middle, you have to slide one key and then the middle key. But you've actually found a way to make that more easy and more interesting. So you tell them, keep an eye on the middle key, because as you just take it and you shake your keys just like this, side to side, you can clearly see that one of the keys completely disappears from here. The middle key completely vanishes, and you can see that back and forth. One key completely vanishes from here and appears wherever you want it. For the purpose of this, let's say they had their wallet on the table. It appears right underneath their wallet. So that is in the simplest possible way, with little to no presentation, what Hide a Key achieves. So where do you buy this? How much does it cost? And what do you get? So you can buy this pretty much at every single magic shop out there. It's I've seen it pretty much everywhere. I personally bought mine at ALAKAZAM Magic. It set me back, I believe it was 75 Canadian dollars. Now, I don't know exactly, I'm sorry about this, the exact price in US or UK dollars, but if I'd have to estimate based on the conversion, I would believe that it would be around 60 US or 60 pounds in terms of the conversion, okay? And also, since I bought this at ALAKAZAM Magic, I do want to do a small anecdote to tell you that I put down in the description below a small code that's going to give you a small discount on your next orders at ALAKAZAM Magic, and it's also going to give me a few benefits along the road. Now, I'm not sponsored or affiliated with ALAKAZAM Magic in any way, but this is their new friendship program that they're doing that helps people connect and buy more magic. So if ever you want to buy this from them or buy basically anything else from them, just you can use maybe the link down below, and that's going to help me just a bit. Nonetheless, let's talk about what you get. So what you get is this box. So a hard shell box, magnetic. As I mentioned in every review, this is kind of the standard packaging we're getting these days. So you're gonna get this. Inside here in the flap, you're gonna get an instructional video that's gonna take you to YouTube. So it's a YouTube video that's around 2 hours and 8 minutes long, with Rawlins going through everything that you would need to know about this, how to perform it, what keychain to buy, what keychain works better, what he advises. Even though all keychain work, you know, he does tell you a few that he prefers. He goes through routines. He goes through put pocketing, which we're going to get into in the review. He covers basically every single base that you would want with the effect. Then you also have an additional link in that YouTube video that takes you to a Zoom call with Gregory Wilson himself. And that video is around 1 hour and 28 minutes long. And that essentially goes over Greg's routine with Hide a Key, and then some additional ideas and ways to use it without a keychain. So for example, Greg uses this as a classic coin gimmick rather than a visual vanish. So he talks about that as well. Additionally to that, you also get your props. So what you are getting is this key, which is your load key. So this key is the key that you're going to load or place wherever you want or have appear anywhere you want. And then you, of course, also get your hide a key system or gimmick, which are these two keys. This key is the key to my house, my actual key to my house, but you're getting these two keys. Okay, so these two keys serve as your hide a key system. You're not getting the lock. So that's essentially what you're getting with your purchase of hide a key. So having talked about that, let's talk about a few miscellaneous things before we get into the difficulty. So one, you are not provided with a keychain, so you'll have to provide your own keychain. This is the keychain that I use. These are like small rubber things that you attach to your belt or in your bag, wherever you want. It's super easy to carry around. That's what I prefer. But you can pretty much use anything you want. You can use clip-ons. You can use the ring ones where you roll the key. Whatever keychain you want, you can use this on it. However, you will need to at least have an additional key. For example, I use my key, and even Chris himself in the instructional video tells you that it's probably better to have a key of a different color. You don't want to have 3 silver keys, so it's better to have one key that looks a bit different so that the visual at the end, when there's one key missing, you can clearly see it's 2 distinct keys and one is missing. Whereas if you had 3 silver ones, they may think that one was never attached or something like that. So you have to consider that as well. So the last thing that I want to mention as kind of a miscellaneous thing with this effect is that if you want to do the Gregory Wilson routine, you'll have to purchase a few things off Amazon extra, like a fake rock. But apart from that, pretty much everything that you need is supplied with the effect. And also the gimmick, since I know this is a topic of discussion and I don't want to address it anymore in the review, it is not a locking mechanism. He says, he gives you a lot of reasons why it's not a locking mechanism. And I do agree that a non-locking mechanism is better for the various things that this routine is attempting to achieve. So no, this is not a locking mechanism. So once your key vanishes, it will not lock in place. So having said that, let's get into the difficulty. Regarding difficulty, so what is the difficulty of hide a key? So hide a key is not that difficult to perform, and I'd say I'd split the difficulty into 2 sections. I would first split the vanish of the key. So the vanish of the key is pretty much self-working. It does it itself. Basically, gravity does it for you without saying too much. Already, I think most people already know what this is, and if you've watched podcasts, you already know what the gimmick is, but I don't want to fully expose it here for those that don't. But yeah, pretty much gravity does everything that you need for you. You don't have to do any moves, anything like that. So even when you take the keys out of your pocket, the move is covered as you take the keys out of your pocket. So literally, just as you take them out, you've essentially done the move, and then you let gravity do the rest of the magic for you to show that one key has completely vanished. Okay? So gravity basically does everything for you in terms of the vanish. Now where this effect gets a bit harder is in terms of what you want to decide to do with the key. Now, you could do this super easy and just have the key under a glass or under a napkin or under a plate or wherever you want to put it, even in your pocket, and just say that it transposed in your pocket. Or you can do like, you do the change here and then you have your hand closed here and the key appears here. You can do like a transposition. So you can find ways to do this, in an easy fashion that requires little to no sleight of hand or difficulty. However, if you want to do the more impressive variations where this appears in a spectator's pocket, or where this appears in a wallet, or whether this appears under their chair, or wherever you want it, under their watch, etc., then you'll have to get a bit more creative and have a bit more kind of courage when performing so that you don't get caught doing the moves. Now, granted, Chris does teach you a few ways that are super easy, and one of the ways that I really like is provided to you by Noel Coulter, and Noel goes over a way that you can load a key in someone's wallet under the pretext of placing an envelope in there. And that is a very good way of doing it. And it basically loads the key while you're doing another effect. So then when you do the key vanish, the key's already there long before they even notice. and they're already going to forget. And it's a super, super easy, basic way. Now, of course, if you want to put it in their pocket, etc., you'll have to get a bit more comfortable with those types of methods. But nonetheless, this effect is one that can be as easy as you want. So you can literally just vanish the key and have it appear in your pocket, or you can do this a bit harder and have the key vanish and appear in someone's pocket, etc. But nonetheless, I do think this effect is pretty easy. I'd say easy to intermediate, in between, and probably intermediate if you want to place this in someone's pocket or under their watch, etc. It will require a bit more finesse. Now, in terms of practicality, is hide a key practical? Well, first of all, everything fits on your keychain. So what Chris Rawlins tells you to do, and what I would recommend as well, is just have all 3 keys on here. And then when you're ready to perform to someone, before you perform, you just take this, you remove the key from it, and then you put it wherever you want it, and then you're ready to perform the effect from your pocket. So practicality-wise, it is very, very good. You just have it on your normal keychain. Now, I do advise that if you have one of those keychains that has like 20 keys on it, other magic effects, tags from places you visited, like, you know, those little toys, those little puppets on it, and like your keychain is like this big and it has 100 keys on it, then you'll probably need to buy an additional key holder to do hide a key. Because if you vanish a key among 10 keys, I don't think that's really going to impress anyone. So for the best visual, you will have to have just 3 keys on your keychain. So if you know you're someone that already has a keychain and does a lot with it and has a lot of things on it, you'll maybe have to buy another one if you want to do this effect. But nonetheless, this lives on your keychain that you can carry around. Apart from that, practicality wise, this doesn't require a table. This can be done standing up. The reset is basically immediate. You just, as you make the vanish, you place the keys in your pocket, you make this appear, you take back your keys, you go to the next table, and you're good to go. The effect has been basically reset for you, and you're good to go again and again and again. So the reset is no problem. Angle-wise, also, from the back, maybe you'll have some angle problems, but the key has been made extremely well, like really precision made. So even if you show it from the back a bit, you can flash it, right? You can just flash the keys. I don't think anyone's gonna notice, but you don't wanna keep it like this. So if there's people behind you and you're performing this 360 in a group of people, you'll just hold the keys maybe a bit like this. You'll maybe incline them just a bit, and then your angles are good. You'll have no problem. So the angles are good, the reset is good. It's easy to carry around. And the last thing that I'm gonna mention about practicality is examinability. Well, your keys are not examinable whatsoever. So once the vanish has been done and you show to the spectator that your keys, that one of the keys has essentially disappeared with the beautiful display here, you take these and you place them inside of your pocket, right? And you get away with them, and then you have them inspect this, because this key is inspectable, but the keys on your keychain are not. So these keys are not inspectable. You cannot hand these to your spectator to examine whatsoever, okay? And I know for some people that's important, but no, the keys are not examinable. I've performed this quite a few times, and I've never had anyone ask me to examine the keys. Now, granted, I had placed the key inside of their pocket long before I performed, so when I got to it and I made the keys vanish, and I was like, it doesn't vanish anywhere, place it in my pocket, it vanishes in your pocket, and then when they remove, the reaction of it being in their pocket is so big, they don't even care about the key vanishing. The effect is, how the hell did this get in my pocket? It wasn't there before. So it kind of covers the effect. So depending on how well you can make this work, it's going to, you know, the appearance of the key is going to overshadow its disappearance, okay? I hope that makes sense. So examinability wise, no, it's not examinable, but depending on the routine that you do, you can get away with that pretty easily. So having said that, let's get into where do you perform this effect. So this effect excels in close-up environments. If you're doing table hopping, strolling magic, all that type of stuff, this effect excels because, as I mentioned, you can be standing up, they can be standing down, however you want. You can do this effect. It doesn't need a table, anything like that. So it's perfect for walk around. Now, if you're doing parlor and stage, you may think that this is not going to play well for those environments. Now, 2 things to address. One, If you're performing parlor stage, maybe as you leave, or maybe the event organizer is going to be like, oh, can you just perform a few things for us close up before you leave? For example, you can have this on your key and be ready to go. Or, for example, as you leave your parlor show, for example, a few times I've had someone come up to me and be like, oh, that was really interesting. Can you just show me something quick before you leave? You know, they asked me like in the lobby or something like that. So you could do this if you have it on your keychain, right? So that's one. But two, a few weeks or maybe a few months ago, I reviewed the pickpocketing book by Hector Mancha. And in there, he teaches you some magic routines that you can do that are kind of pseudo pickpocketing, where it seems that you're actually stealing something from someone or putting something on them that was never actually there. So for example, if you have that book, or you're someone that performs pickpocketing type routines or wants to perform pickpocketing type routines, this is a perfect gimmick and a perfect effect that's gonna let you achieve that. So for example, let's say you do a few things with someone, you have, you have things transposed between your pocket, their pocket, etc. And then you tell them, let me do one more thing. And while you're performing, you load this key in their pocket or wherever you want. And then you do the routine and it appears in their pocket, right? So if you're doing stage and parlor and you perform these types of routines, this can be adapted to stage and parlor without any issue in those type of routines and those types of environments. However, in its simplest form, just doing the key vanish like this and making it appear in their pocket could work in parlor or stage, but I don't think you'd want that to be the sole effect, because having someone come all the way up to come to stage just for an effect that lasts 30 seconds is not really it. So it's much better played in a bigger effect if you want to do it that way. But nonetheless, you do have scenarios where you can perform it parlor stage, but this excels close up. So having said all of this, let's talk about the positives and negatives of hide-a-key. So as with most reviews, let's talk with the negatives. What are the negatives of hide-a-key? So one of the negatives of hide-a-key is also one of its positives, but it kind of plays together, because for some people it's a no-go and for some people they don't mind, and that is the locking mechanism. Some people really want the key to lock in place so that if you give it to the spectator to examine, they won't find anything. Now, yes, that would be great, but also a locking mechanism would not let you have this be instantly resettable, right? So if you had a locking mechanism and you want to go to another table, you'd have to unlock your key, set it up so that it doesn't lock in your pocket, and then proceed to do the trick with a bit more care so that the gimmick doesn't lock in place when it shouldn't be. So yes, for some people that's a negative, but to me, that's more of a positive. But I do want to mention that as well, because it removes the examinability of the trick, which to some people is very important. A second negative is, since this gimmick, again, is not necessarily locking in place, you do have to take care of the vanish, because what I mean by this is that the vanish is not always going to happen at the same time. So for example, in some performances, when you just jiggle the keys once, everything's gonna go set in place so that the key's gonna disappear super fast. In some other performances I've had to jiggle the key a few times and make sure everything's in place before doing the display. So because it's not, a self-working mechanism that attracts itself, that means that you will have to take a bit of care handling the key in your displays as well, because you don't want anything showing that shouldn't show. So again, you do have to take care a bit of that. Apart from that, there's no real negatives that I have about this. So those are the only two things I wanted to mention. Let's get into the positives. What are the positives of hide-a-key? One, even though the instructional video is super long, it covers so many bases. It's a very good instructional video. It teaches you everything. Once you're done with the video, you'll never have to watch anything about this project again. You'll know it for the rest of your life. Two, they provide you with an extra key, and also your gimmick is so well made. It's super thin and so good. Like, I'm showing you the bad side of the gimmick right now. Like, I was literally showing you the bad side. Like, this is the bad side of the gimmick, okay, compared to the good side. And it literally looks as good as it should be. There's almost nothing to be observed, especially as you're just showing it. There's nothing to be seen whatsoever regarding the gimmick. It is super, super, super well made. 2, the effect is also easy to do. It's practical, it's easy to carry around. It's something also that's different. You know, doing a vanishing key and doing something different than cards and coins is very, very nice. Having this on your keychain everyday carry is also great. Gives you an effect that you can do any place, anywhere. And it's also adaptable to stage and parlor routines, which is very nice as well. So there's a lot of good going for this. So having said all of that, what are the positives and negatives? What essentially, we've already covered that. What is my essentially final verdict and my grade score of hide a key? So would I recommend hide a key? And yes, if you do close-up magic or you're a close-up performer, then yes, I recommend hide a key. You will get a blast performing this, and you will carry this around with you for a long, very long time on your keychain, and you'll be ready to go to do a small effect, but a very powerful one at a moment's notice. So I definitely recommend hide a key. So what would I rate it out of 10? I would rate hide a key a 9 on 10. It does have a few caveats that will affect some people more than others, but it is nonetheless a very good effect, one that I will be performing, one that's already on my go-to keychain. So I can't give it anything less than that. It's a very, very good effect. Another good product that I bought by Rawlins, and one that I recommend to you. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any other questions, make sure to leave them down below. Comments, likes, subscribes, appreciate all of that. Also, don't forget the ALAKAZAM link in the bio if you want to go out and purchase this for yourself at a small discount. Make sure to use it. Nonetheless, thank you everyone for watching, and see you in my next review. Bye bye.